So today we finally received the long-awaited big patch for Borderlands 4 along with the Halloween event. So I just wanted to talk about those two things, mostly the Halloween event. I'll touch on the patch at the end a little bit. I'm not going to go like line for line for it. I'll have the whole patch in the description so if you guys want to check that out. But I'll just kind of gloss over it, talk about my thoughts on that. But first off, starting with the Halloween event. I got on today. I was super excited because Borderlands 3 Halloween event was awesome. There was a lot of really good gear. It was a lot of fun. In this game, I am so disappointed. I don't even know how else to describe that except for just pure utter disappointment. The actual event itself is literally just go do the world bosses, the little bubbles that can spawn as you're driving around. Go find one of those, and good luck finding one of those. It took me over 20 minutes to find my first one, and I drove around for another 20 to 25 minutes after that one, and still never found a second one. So I have only done this once, and this already cemented how I feel, and I've seen so many people on Twitter already talking about it, so I'm not the only one. People are having a really hard time finding these world events around the map. And it just really sucks because there's absolutely no difference in the world events. All you do is when you get there, it's now just kind of raining blood. The sky darkens a little bit. It's raining some very subtle blood, and you just fight the boss. Like, it's nothing new. There's no new bosses. It's just whatever world boss could have come there, it's going to be there. And when you kill them, they don't drop anything. It just now puts a chest in your inventory where you have a chance of getting one of the two new legendary pieces of gear that come with the Halloween event. There is the grenade, and there's like an assault rifle, I believe. It's the legendary TDR assault rifle, the Murmur. This executes weakened enemies with guaranteed crits on targets under 35% health. And then the Scully legendary order grenade. This grenade fires projectiles that seeks out the nearest target. So I ended up getting the Scully out of my one and only Halloween event thing, which I got pretty excited for because our last, Halloween event grenade was the gas call, one of my favorite legendaries of all time. And the thing was so good, and it was fun to build around. I got the Scully, threw it on my Vex. It was shooting the little projectiles out of his mouth for like 123 damage or something ridiculously small like that. And then exploded on an enemy for maybe 1,000 or something, but I'm not a grenade build, so I just moved it over to my grenade Rafa, where if you guys are familiar, you can insta-kill every single boss in the game with that thing. It doesn't matter, you throw like 5-6 grenades, you swap weapons, throw a chuck, whatever, all the stickies that are on it, they just disappear, right? Obviously that helps with the fire pot because the fire pot is really strong, but this, Scully grenade was hitting for like 400 damage a shot out of its mouth and exploded for like 12k or something, 14k, somewhere in that range. So yeah, it took me over a minute of just fighting like a group of 4 or 5 enemies to even kill them, and most of that work being done to them was my Peacebreaker cannons that I couldn't even control. They were just, casually doing their thing. I was trying to just let the grenade do the work, and it did essentially nothing. So the Scully grenade just is not worth your time at all, especially with how long it takes to find just one world event. Like I said, over 20 minutes to find that first one. I sought out another one for another 20-25 minutes, never found a second world boss. And who knows if that's even guaranteed. Like, it could have just gotten really lucky and gotten that grenade first try, and maybe other people are going to have to do 20 world events to get theirs. Like, I genuinely have no idea, and I can't even really test a sample size because I can't find the world bosses. I am, once again, not the only person feeling this. There's a ton of people I'm seeing online talking about not being able to find these world bosses. I know people have some like methods to help. There's a map genie. I followed that map genie around to the different spawn locations and still only found that one in over like 40-45 minutes of looking for him. So that part, like, it needs to be changed today, tomorrow, before the weekend. Like, if this is a limited time event, I get it's free, like, awesome, it's free. If they made us paid for this, we'd be having a completely different conversation right now. But it does just really suck that it's just so little, and there's just really nothing new to come with it. And let's take a look at Borderlands 3 Bloody Harvest, okay? Because this event was actually really good. Now, how Bloody Harvest worked in Borderlands 3, there was ghosts that would appear around the map as you casually play. Like some enemies would be haunted, they'd spawn a ghost. Most were just like normal ghosts. There could be badass ghosts if the badass was haunted. And then you also had a chance of a loot ghost, which actually dropped really good items, and you could get the actual Halloween gear out of them. So it was really cool. There was different ways of, just getting a lot of enemies to spawn and trying to farm loot ghosts. It's like Scrap Trap's Nest later on in the game was like a thing we did for farming some Halloween gear. And then we had an entire new location. So once you kill some ghosts, you collect ectoplasm, you talk to Maurice, you go into a whole new location. It's kind of like an Athena's 2.0. It's kind of a gauntlet of enemies you fight through. And then we made it to an entirely new boss, completely new character model with new mechanics, new arena, like completely new. Purely for that event and that event only. It was awesome. That event was a lot of fun. And then you got a ton of good gear out of it. So that event dropped the Fearmonger shotgun, the Stalker sniper rifle, Scream of Terror shield, and the Gas Call grenade mod. Now, those weapons really weren't that great at the launch of the event. Like, they were, kind of on the same level as the Scully. But, like, the Gas Call is just so strong. One of the best, legendaries, especially grenades in the entire game. Like, that thing was nuts. And so it was just such a letdown to see, the caliber of that event, which was also free, be scaled now to this, which is just, hey, there's 2 legendaries in the world boss pool. Go find them. And here's a code for a weapon skin. And that's the event that we have this time around, which is really, really weird because kind of the whole point of sequels is to, do what you did in the previous game, but bigger and better. So it feels really weird to just kind of scale that down so much, especially with just how rare these world bosses are. Like, they gotta up the spawn rates of that. That's the biggest thing. And hopefully they do some buffs. I can't test out the assault rifle that comes with the event just because I can't find any more bubbles. Maybe the thing's really strong, but reading its description, I don't think it's going to be that worth it. But I'm going to have to wait and see until I get my hands on it myself. But yeah, the Halloween event, big letdown. Maybe I'm overreacting. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about it. But right now, they have some work to do before the weekend. They got to get those spawn rates up so we can actually partake in the little bit of the event that there actually is. Now, talking about the actual patch itself, there's not like too much in here for the most part. They did a lot of like quality of life and bug fixes. So now specialization respecs went down from 5,000 iridium to 1,500. So that's a really good change. Gives us way more freedom to test things out. Like, that was seriously such a big part of making builds. And you couldn't test things because it cost 5,000. Luckily I'm on PC, so I can make save copies and test things out and revert my iridium back essentially by loading my previous save. So like, at least I got to mess with things. But if you're on console, you're just kind of out of luck if you wanted to test stuff. So that's way better. Do a couple bounties and you'll be at that 1,500. And then Lost Loot Machine is now going to work properly with like actually taking your legendaries as highest priority and stuff like that. Especially with some of the like Oppressor, for example, that boss drops legendaries out of the map all the time. That flying boss, it's ridiculous. So that really helps out there. Otherwise, just a couple fixes for gameplay stuff, various things. The other big parts that we really care about are the Vault Hunter changes. So they changed Red Tree Harlow. So this was giving us bonus radiation damage with neutron capture, the augment, on every single instance of gun damage. So you wanted to hit as many times as quick as you could. So Katagawa's Revenge, Convergence were some very popular options people were using with that build. Now it's going to be like once per gun shot. So I'm assuming we're going to transition to the more fast fire rate things like the Bori SMGs from our Halo Harlow. I'm assuming we can maybe make use of that. But we're going to have to see how it plays off of the actual like gun damage itself. So it's a lot weaker now. I've seen some couple clips of people using the exact same setup right before the patch versus after, and it's doing significantly less damage. The crit knife has been changed, by the way. This is now from guaranteed crits to plus 30% crit chance, which is still really good. That's going to change basically nothing. If you guys are trying to optimize your build, you will have that equipped, unless there's some super niche examples where you can use the fire pot. There's really going to be no other ordnance that you equip there, unless you're doing an ordnance build. If you're doing guns, action skill, melee, whatever, you're basically going to have that equiped. Fire pot and Slippy are going to be like your 2 uh, exceptions to that. Otherwise, Amon, seeing red got nerfed a little bit, so it's gonna be a little bit harder to keep Berserk going. But for the most part, it should be perfectly fine, especially if you're doing like melee activates kill skills. Those are all gonna be fine. They fixed Blackout and Raging Inferno scaling with points, so that's actually gonna be a huge buff for Amon for the most part. They try to do some things with the Forge axes and the Forge drones. I don't see that changing too much. The Forge drone stuff was mostly on the class mods. There's some passive changes, stuff like that, but I still don't think they're going to be strong enough because their biggest deal is they just don't hit anything because they're too slow. They're just constantly chasing something. If something starts walking, they're going to be missing because they just move so slow. Vex got her bleed fixed, no longer going to be stacking itself. That's really the main thing there. A couple trouble buffs, but I don't see that changing too much. And the big thing with Rafa is now Apotheosis Lance is going to be getting benefits from cooldown reduction. So now with caffeine's going to work. So you can actually keep Lance up way more often, which is really good. Make him feel a lot better, but he didn't receive really any other changes except for that. A couple gear changes and bug fixes. They buffed Star Helix, Bonnie and Clyde, Bugbear, Rowan's Charge, Lucian's Flank, and Aegon's Dream. The Heavy Weapon Ordnance, Gamma Void, Ravenfire got buffed, and like I said, a couple class mod like passive changes in terms of numbers, and a few firmware, rep kit, and shield things, just slight number changes, anything crazy. Yeah, so this is the patch that got delayed quite a while, over a week, and it came out with probably the worst event I've seen. I'm a little disappointed. I'm gonna play around with it a bit more, but right now I am not the most happy when it comes to this patch. I really do hope they get on some of these, like at least the event. The events is the big thing. Just make these world bosses appear more. I just wanted to rant, talk about this, share my thoughts and opinions on this current update. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Once again, maybe I'm just overreacting. It's completely 99 out once again, because that's, the only person that exists in the world is completely 99. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this far in the video. I'll catch you in the next video. See ya.